My family and I are very close. We make it a point to go on vacation together at least 2 or 3 times a year. If someone can't come, we always bring back a souvenir for them. I'm Jenny, 27, and I live with my family. My dad is usually away because of his busy job, and my sister is married and has moved out, so it's usually just my mom and grandpa at home. Recently, though, my sister seems different. When she visits, she often looks sad. What's wrong, sis? You don't seem like yourself. Huh? Oh, I'm fine, really, she replied, but I hadn't seen her smile in a while. Is everything okay with your in-laws? No, there's nothing wrong. Stop asking weird questions, she said defensively and got upset. She left for her in-laws' house that day, but she seemed hesitant. A few days later, she came back, but this time she looked really scared. What's wrong, sis? You look frightened. I'm not scared. It's just a little cold, she replied, though she was trembling. Her reaction worried me. Not long after, her husband Sean showed up at our house. So you were here. We were worried, he said. Oh, Sean, sorry about that. She just felt homesick, my mom explained. Let's go, Rachel, he said, and she left with him, though she looked desperate. Mom, don't you think something's wrong with her? I noticed too, she replied. She looked really scared when she saw Sean. I was worried. I started to wonder if she was being mistreated at her in-laws' house. So one day, I decided to visit them. Her mother-in-law, Layla, greeted me at the door. Jenny, it's been a while. What brings you here? Well, my sister's been acting strange, so I wanted to check if everything's all right. Oh, everything's fine here. There's nothing unusual, she said. But while we were talking, I heard a loud noise from inside. What was that? I asked. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I'm busy today, so you should head back. Wait, why won't you let me in? You're already in the doorway, aren't you? Layla replied, refusing to let me into the house. In the end, I had to leave without seeing my sister. A few days later, something shocking happened. My sister came home in tears. What happened, sis? Are you okay? I asked, but all she could do was cry. When I looked closer, I saw bruises on her body. It seemed like Layla and Sean had hurt her. This is terrible. How could they do this? I hugged her, and we cried together. But then she said something even more worrying. The baby, our baby. My sister has a child, but he's still just a baby, unable to do anything on his own. My sister had come home, but her baby wasn't with her. Sis, where's the baby? What happened to the baby? I asked. Through her tears, she replied, They hurt our baby. What do you mean? What did they do? I've been putting up with Sean's abuse and my mother-in-law's constant harassment for so long. But when I finally tried to stand up to them, they threatened the baby. Her voice trembled, and she couldn't continue. At that moment, Grandpa walked in. What's going on? He asked. My sister explained everything to him, still crying. After hearing her story, Grandpa just said, "Huh," and then picked up the phone. Who are you calling? I asked, but he didn't answer. We're going to their house, he said. Grandpa drove us to my sister's in-laws' house with Mom, my sister, and me in the car. After about 10 minutes, we'd arrived. Layla, my sister's mother-in-law, greeted us at the door, acting like she didn't know what was going on. What a surprise to see you all here, she said. I've heard you hurt my granddaughter and my great-grandchild, Grandpa said quietly. Layla just laughed. Who cares? It's not a big deal, and it's her fault anyway, she said, pointing at my sister. It turned out she was blaming my sister just because my sister had asked Sean to cut down on sausage for his health. Layla and Sean had been cruel to my sister over something so small. How dare you hurt my granddaughter over that? Grandpa said, his face showing his anger. Just then, Sean appeared. Oh, you're back, Rachel. I was worried about you, he said, though he didn't look worried at all. Grandpa looked at him calmly. We're here to take you both down. Sean and Layla just laughed, making fun of Grandpa. But Grandpa started laughing too. What's so funny, old man? Sean asked. I'm just thinking about what's going to happen to you in a minute, Grandpa replied. Right then, several cars pulled up outside the house. People started getting out, one after another, until there were about 30 of them surrounding the house. They were all our relatives. What's going on? Who are all these people? Layla stammered. They're my family, Grandpa said. They're here because they heard that my precious granddaughter had been mistreated. As our relatives crowded in front of the house, Layla snapped, "Why are you all here? You're being a nuisance." Grandpa stayed calm and replied, "Then let's all go inside." Without waiting for permission, Grandpa led everyone into the house. Layla and Scene protested, but we followed Grandpa into the living room. There, we saw my sister's baby crying, his face swollen. My sister rushed to pick him up, horrified. "Did you really hurt such a small child?" Grandpa asked angrily. Layla stammered, "It wasn't our choice. He wouldn't stop crying, so we had to." "Most people don't hit a baby because they're crying." Grandpa shot back, furious. "How dare you treat my family like this?" Some of our relatives were police officers, so Grandpa warned them that they could face assault charges. Layla looked nervous. "Wait, this is a family matter. There's no need to involve the police." Seeing the seriousness, Scene also tried to defend himself. "Rachel, say something. We didn't do anything that bad. It was just a bit of discipline." Grandpa stepped in front of my sister. "How dare you talk to her that way? You're lucky we didn't intervene sooner." Scene tried to argue. "She's my wife. This is between us. You shouldn't interfere." Grandpa didn't back down. "You think you can do anything to her just because you're married? Family won't stand by and let you hurt one of our own." Scene looked terrified, starting to cry. "Wait, you all barge into our house. Isn't this trespassing? If I call the police, you'll be the ones arrested." "We'll take responsibility for that," Grandpa replied. "But you're the ones doing something far worse, and you need to answer for it." Layla's face turned red with anger. She suddenly rushed toward my sister, but our relatives quickly held her back. Layla yelled, "What were you thinking, calling all these people over? You're causing us problems. Go home now." She was gripping my sister's shoulders, shaking her. "Fix this. Fix it right now." "Stop it. Let go," my sister protested. Grandpa stepped in and pulled Layla off of her. "Throwing me around like that?" Layla sneered. "You're being cruel. Maybe I should report you for assault." Grandpa just shook his head. "That won't work. The real problem here is you, grabbing Rachel like that." Layla's tone turned defensive. "It's not my fault. We were living peacefully until she started all this." "Maybe you were living in peace, but Rachel certainly wasn't," Grandpa replied. "You've been cruel to her and even to your own grandchild. Have you no shame?" "Shame? I'm just telling it like it is," Layla insisted, looking to my sister. "Rachel, say something. All of this is happening because of you." Finally, my sister lifted her head, looked at Layla, and spoke firmly. "Mother-in-law, I don't want to live in this house anymore. I want a divorce." Layla was shocked. "A divorce? You can't be serious, Rachel." But my sister continued, "You and Scene have treated me terribly. I can't stay here anymore." Scene jumped in, refusing. "No way. I'll never agree to a divorce. You're going to stay here and serve me forever." Grandpa looked proud of my sister's resolve. "Now that's my granddaughter. When she decides to stand up for herself, she really does." Layla scoffed. "You're not getting a divorce. And if you try, you'll owe Scene compensation." "Compensation?" Grandpa asked. "She doesn't owe you a dime. If anything, he should be paying damages for all you've put Rachel and her child through." Layla was stunned. "We don't have that kind of money." Grandpa replied, "Then you can pay in installments. We have lawyers in the family, so don't think you can escape responsibility." "What? You even have lawyers in the family?" Layla asked, sounding worried. "Mom, what do we do now? Should we apologize?" Scene asked. "Apologize? We don't even know if that would be accepted," Layla replied. "And if the company finds out about the divorce, it'll be awkward at work." Hearing this, Grandpa seemed to remember something. "Wait, Rachel's husband works for the company run by my relatives." Scene's eyes widened. "What? You have family there too?" "Yes," Grandpa replied. "But let's be clear. Your actions aren't just about trespassing. You've done a lot worse, and there will be consequences." "Fired? Divorced and fired? No way. I can't let that happen," Scene protested. Grandpa's voice was stern. "You think you can avoid responsibility that easily? Reflect on what you've done." Scene turned to Layla. "Mom, help. I'll lose my job." Layla glared back. "This isn't fair. You're all ganging up on us." Grandpa calmly replied, "Who was unfair first? I'm only protecting my granddaughter." His fierce look made Layla and Scene shrink back in fear. He then turned to my sister, saying, "Rachel, let's go. Our family will handle things from here." "Thank you, Grandpa," my sister said gratefully. As we left the house, Layla and Scene started pleading, "Wait. We were wrong. Don't go through with the divorce. Please." But my sister didn't look back. She got into Grandpa's car and we drove away. Grandpa told them, "This is all you're doing. You brought this on yourselves." On the way home, Scene and Layla kept arguing, blaming each other until we couldn't hear them anymore. Once home, we left the legal matters to our family lawyer, the police, and the company's owner. In the end, my sister was able to divorce Scene and even received a settlement. Scene lost his job too and struggled to find another one. My sister was finally free and cried tears of relief. But a while later, Scene started lurking around our house, hoping to reconcile. Grandpa was furious when he saw this. He immediately called our police relative, who had arrested Scene for stalking. A restraining order was placed on him, and he never came back. At last, peace returned to our home. My sister now plans to raise her baby with the support of our family, and I help care for the baby too. We're enjoying our lives together as a loving family.